In this video, we're going to look at the systems that you need to scale your AI or automations agency to 100K per month. My name is Katie Bani and I have been running my automations and AI agency for the past 3 years. I started with systems and automations with a small team, and now I run a team of 10 people that are delivering on my behalf. So I want to show you exactly how I do that and how I have managed to scale to 6-figure months and also work with clients that are very happy. Some clients haven't churned in years and they are still working with me. So I will show you how exactly you can do the same in order to avoid churn. Make sure that your team has clarity and you don't need to rework systems, as well as working with clients that are willing to pay more. You understand that when you charge more, your clients have higher expectations. So meeting those expectations is key to keeping high retainers. A lot of people will charge 2, 3, or 5K for a project, whereas we manage to charge 5 figures for a single project. Now, I'm not talking about 10K, I'm talking about 20, 30, or 50 grand for a single project. If you want to do the same, then let's go and look at my screen where I'm going to show you exactly the systems you need from sales, backend, and also delivery systems. Each system is going to solve the problems that you're likely facing today. Now, maybe you'll find this video too long and you're not going to watch it, but you're going to be part of those people who don't watch the video until the end and they're stuck at 5 or 10K months. Now, with this video, I'm going to break down everything. I'm going to go into details, so you're going to learn and you don't have to go through churn or turnover or having to hire and rehire team members that are going to stick and deliver on your behalf. If you want to save time, scale, and also have great profit margins, then this is a video that you need to watch. So let's get started and look at a high level the systems that we're going to cover on this video. The first one is going to be sales systems. You absolutely need to have sales systems in your business, otherwise you're going to be stuck on delivering for your clients and making peanuts. The next one is going to be backend systems. Now, you don't just need delivery systems for your clients, you need to make sure that your team is working like a well-oiled machine. The backend systems are project management, your Slack setup, your weekly sprints, and the daily focus for your team. And last one is the delivery systems. That will make it easy for you to deliver to your clients. Your team will know exactly what they have to do, and you don't need to figure things out every single time you bring on a new client. You try to standardize the process as much as possible, and if you have new deliverables or new features that you're trying to build for your client, then at least you have the process, and once you have delivered it, you can turn it into a template for your future clients. So in this video, the way we're going to look at everything is by looking at this lucid chart that you can see on my screen right here. We're going to cover initially the sales systems, then the backend systems, and the delivery systems. And as I told you already, if you're going to skip this video and you're going to do something else, then you're going to be stuck. I know this for a fact because when I didn't have the systems, I was stuck. I was stuck at 10, 15K months until I installed all the systems, and then I realized that not only I am making more money, but actually I have greater margins, my team has more clarity, and I don't need to hire new team members all the time because we are a mess. So let's start with the first one, the booking calendars. Now, you will need to have a booking calendar to schedule your appointments with your future clients. So you can build a system within Go High Level. I have also linked the Go High Level CRM link on my description, or you can set up something with Calendly. It can be something really simple, but you need to have a streamlined way of booking calls. You will have 60-minute calls with your clients or prospective clients, and you can expect that sometimes you're not going to close on the first call. So you also need to have a follow-up call calendar. Now, it is very normal to have 2 call closes. Personally, I'm not the greatest sales rep out there, but I understand that my clients are not just making a decision to buy something or not, they're completely switching the way that they are operating. So they may need more clarity or more people involved in the process. They could be the operator or current team that is going to come in and discuss with you the next steps. The questions that you can add on your calendar are the following. You can pause the video and check those out quickly. The full name, email, phone number, the socials. Make sure to check those out before you jump on a call. You're going to understand better what this company stands for, their current revenue, the familiarity with your company. This is going to allow you to understand how warm they are. The next one is the type of business that they are running. You need clarity on that. And how long they have been running their business. Now, this is a really important question. The reason why I always ask this question is because if a company has been running for just a couple of months, then that means that they may not be committed to the growth of this company. Maybe they are just testing the waters, whereas a company that has been running for 2 or 3 years, the pain is higher, the commitment is also higher, so the likelihood that you're going to close them is also higher. So you need to understand how long this company has been running for, and also the business owner's commitment to have this business run for longer. If you notice that a business was created just a couple of months ago, then on your sales call, you want to ask them if this is their only business that they're working on right now, or what is their commitment to this specific business. Next, you want to ask them about their current business, what they're doing, how they're delivering, what is their niche, their clients, etc. And the next one is the missing puzzle. What is missing for them to grow? And lastly, you ask them if they have invited all the decision makers. This is also key. You want the decision makers to be there, because if they're not there, it's very likely that it's not going to close. So you're going to have a follow-up call, which again, as I told you, it is normal. I've had a lot of people jump on a second call or bring on an operator before I close them, because they need more certainty that this is the right move for them. Next, you want to have a confirmation page. Now, you want to have the video on the confirmation page. The reason for that is because you want to make them aware of their problems. Sometimes people like the idea of installing systems in their business, but they're not willing to pay a lot. So you want to create the awareness around that problem and how it is costing them hundreds or thousands of dollars every day. The next one is you want to make them solution aware. You want to show them which are all the solutions. Some people know already the solutions. And then you want to narrow down the solutions so that they know that you are the right solution for them. The worst thing that could happen to you is jumping on a sales call with someone who is willing to buy systems, automations, AI, and then what you do is you educate them on the call. You tell them what the solutions are. Now they become more aware, but instead of buying from you, they go and just buy from someone else that has nurtured them more. So you want to create that awareness, and you want to make it clear that you are the only person that can solve that problem for them. Next, you want to have some testimonials or case studies. If you don't have case studies or testimonials, then just showcase solutions that you have built, so then they can just see what you're all about and that you are legit and that you have the solutions that they are looking for. Okay, so that's it when it comes to the booking calendars. Next, let's look at the sales CRM. A sales CRM would be great at the moment you start scheduling multiple calls. You can just keep your booking system like a Calendly, but the moment you start scheduling multiple calls and you're trying to build an email list, I would say definitely get into either high level or close. You can find also the links on my description to sign up for any of those. And over there, you want to create a pipeline for yourself. And that means creating the stages. As you can see over here, the stages that I use for myself are the following: call booked, follow-up call booked, no show, that's for people who didn't show up. And then we have a sequence to try to reschedule them. The hot list, these are people that we are nurturing intensively, trying to get them to schedule a follow-up call or just sending them a proposal so then we can move things forward. The long-term nurturing, these are people that we're hitting up on our list every couple of months. The canceled by lead, canceled by host, the one, unqualified, usually it is money, lost, bad fit, or deposit. Now, when it comes to deposits, that's something that I don't really do. I know that some people are doing it at times. I would say you can do it, but I don't really see a point in collecting a deposit if someone is not willing to move forward. The only reason why I would do that is only if I have limited capacity and I wanted to lock the spot for this specific person. Okay, so building the CRM, pretty straightforward. I have multiple videos on my channel that you can watch exactly on how to build the CRM. It would take way too long for me to explain all that over here, but pretty much on your sales CRM, what you're trying to have in place is a pipeline. You want to track all your opportunities, have them in the right stages, and also have automated sequence if a call is canceled or is no-showed or rescheduled. And you also want to have some emails sent to your prospective clients so they can get confirmations and also reminders to show up on the call. The call, of course, would happen on Zoom. On the Zoom call, you should be ready to also share your screen, because oftentimes you will notice that people will ask to see the solution or something that you have built. So let's go then on to the next one. The next system that you want to have in place is the call outcome system. Now, if you are a beginner, you are not even booking calls, you don't need this, right? But if you reached a point where you're scheduling, let's say 5 to 10 calls per week, right? Then you can start using this automation where you get the summary from your transcript, and then you get the automation updated your CRM as well as your Slack. Of course, if you're going to have a closer taking calls for you, which I don't necessarily recommend if you're just starting with your offer, but maybe later on, then you would want to have this in place. Now, the way that this call outcome system works is that you have a trigger every time you have a new summary, then you're trying to search for the call on your tracker. For example, here I do have Airtable, and then if the call outcome summary exists, then we're going to end the automation there. Otherwise, what we are going to do is split it into the closing call or triage call. We're not doing triage calls. If you are doing, cool, you can just follow that path. Otherwise, you don't create this path whatsoever. So over here, we have set up the automation in a way that we have some steps linked to ChatGPT. And pretty much what we're doing, we are asking ChatGPT to summarize the call and give us the next steps, the objections, and the outcome. So once we take this information, then we translate the output to English. And I understand that this step may seem redundant, but honestly, I've had situations where ChatGPT gave me the output in Spanish. There is no step that is requiring a Spanish outcome, or I don't even speak Spanish, but this was something we encountered at the time. So then we have two steps where we are formatting the output, then we are updating our CRM with the output, and lastly, we are sending a Slack notifications on the call outcomes channel. So this is pretty straightforward. It allows you to not spend so much time updating the team on what happened with the call, and also your CRM is also updated. So over here, the system is using close, where we are finding the lead, and then we are also updating it with the output as well as the new status. Now let's go into the next system that you will need. These are the end of day reports. So the end of day reports are for setters and closers. Now the setters EOD has these questions, whereas the closers EOD is a way for us to get the outcome per call. And then what we're doing is that every call outcome and the summary is updating again the CRM. Now this is a very easy way for you to update your CRM without having to get your closers to go back into the CRM, submit the EOD, etc. Right? So a few automations there. Of course, if you're running an AI business or automations business, then you know exactly how to set this up. If you don't, let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to show you how we have set it up for ourselves. Now, the EOD system is pretty much an end of day report where we get our setters to let us know exactly what has happened over the day. And let's get into the next one, and that is the one-click onboarding. So this is a flagship offer that I had a couple of years ago, where I showed everyone how to use one-click onboarding instead of sending manually the agreement, creating the folders, creating the docs, sending the welcome, right? Everything was done manually. Now with the one-click onboarding, all you have to do is fill out a form, the sales report form, and that will trigger the automation that will create the deal. It will create the client folder, it will create the client on the CRM, send a welcome email, etc. So you can pause again and check exactly the step-by-step process and what that looks like, where pretty much we create the client, we send the contract, client enters on the email sequence that we're sending, the client materials are created, as well as a group chat with the client. So for example, if we're using Discord or if we're using Slack, then that chat is created, and then we are also automatically sending the welcome message on that chat. A couple of hours later, we send a check-in message on Slack, and 24 hours later, we are checking if the onboarding call was scheduled. So you can get the one-click onboarding in the description below. I think everyone has this at this point, but if you don't have it, then please get the link. It's really, really affordable. You can set it up. You don't have to figure things out, and just make sure everything is set in place, so then you can onboard clients and you give a great first impression. So the automation is pretty straightforward. Again, the client materials are created, the client assets are created, the welcome email, welcome message, etc. all are created automatically. Now the last part of the sales systems is the template proposal. Some people may be against this. Some people may think that you lost the sale if you have to send a proposal, but from my experience, proposals set boundaries, create more clarity, and you also are professional. Now, if you are going to tell them, well, we're kind of going to do this, it's kind of going to look like this, the features are those, well, your clients don't have clarity. So by creating that clarity, you make it easier for them to make a decision. You want to make it easy for them to understand what you're building and why there's value in what you're proposing to them. So on my proposal, I have the deliverables structured this way, as well as the expectations for the CEO and the business owner. Expectations are key because this project, the only way that it could fail is if you have a mismatch of expectations. Assuming that you know what you're doing, assuming that you understand what it takes to build those AI agents, automation systems, etc., then the only reason why this project could fail is expectations. It could be the speed, it could be the scope, it could be communication or responsibilities, right? So ever since I realized that the only reason why my clients could be unhappy is expectations, then now I tell them from the get-go that this is what I expect from them. And you may think that your clients may get scared or they may not like what they see or what they hear, but the truth is most clients appreciate having a clear communication. So when you're telling them that they need to complete their tasks, if you ask them to approve something, they have to do it timely, that you're not going to babysit them or you're not going to sit on 5-hour calls to do things together step by step, right? And also that you get the accesses from the get-go, then that is going to set boundaries, is going to create clarity, and people will know exactly what to expect. You can always refer back to these expectations if something goes wrong and you know that you are right. Now, this proposal is also key for your agreements. Oftentimes, you'll have scope creep. That means more requests without extra payment. Oh, I thought you were supposed to do also this, right? Or, hey, I thought you would have 5 developers. Why do you only have 1 developer, right? But if you have clarified those things, like the time it takes, who is going to work on this, specifically the features that you are going to build, then there's no reason for your client to be unhappy, right? If they are unhappy, it's because they changed their mind, not because you did something wrong and you scammed them. So this is what the proposal looks like, the way that I send it to my clients. I don't always send it, but I always include the expectations and deliverables on my agreement. That is 100% something that I do. So then if you need to protect yourself legally in the future, then you can also do that. Now, the next part that we are going to cover is delivery systems. So let's start with the first thing that truly matters. What does your org chart look like? Who do you need in your team to have a successful systems, AI, or automations agency? Let me show you this org chart. I have prepared 3 org charts depending on your technical abilities, depending on your scale and how fast you're trying to move. So the first one is a very, very simple one. You are the CEO/founder and you are the product owner. Product owner means you are the one defining the features, the user stories, how this product or project is going to be built out. The next one is the project manager. Now, sometimes you don't have the budget for a project manager. Just know that you are going to be the project manager. You cannot skip this part. You cannot have your developers, admins, or client success admin create tasks for themselves or take over and just do whatever they want. You have to have someone who is responsible for the project's success. So, yourself here at the top, your project manager, then you have your developer, whether it is AI or full stack developer or whatever developer. Next is a tech admin and a client success admin. Now, the tech admin and client success admins, they have responsibilities that overlap. So this tech admin is the person who is setting systems up. For example, creating different fields, creating different tables, forms, creating a draft, a welcome email, for example, if that's what you're automating, right? Or creating different pipelines or stages, setting things up. This is what the tech admin does. They are preparing the ground for the developer. The client success admin also has tech admin responsibilities, but another thing that they are doing is checking client communication channels every day and bringing those forward to you. Why is this helpful? Well, instead of you going onto the client's workspace and checking every time that they are tagging you, your client success admin can do that on your behalf. So that means that they can answer to any questions that are really straightforward, but your client doesn't have logins or they need a specific doc. Your client success admin can do that on your behalf. And they can forward to you any questions that they cannot answer themselves. over time you can train them to answer more questions. But this saves you a lot of time in communication, back and forth with clients, etc. So you can focus on growing the business. This is the first version of the org chart. It works very well, and the project manager is the one who is going to communicate with you. Of course, you need to communicate with your team in general and lead your team, but the project manager is responsible to delegate tasks to your team, to make sure they have clarity, to unblock them, and if they have questions about certain features, they can come to you and ask you, hey, how does this feature specifically work, or what do you have in mind? So that is the first one. The second one is the following. You are not technical at all. You're good with marketing and sales. Now, what you'll need to have in place is someone who is going to be the head of product. So someone who is technical and understands the product and exactly what you're delivering to your clients. Why is this important? Because if you have no idea what you're building, right, and you just have a developer, now you're very dependent on that developer. If your lead developer or head of product, they're just the same person, then that's fine, but someone needs to be responsible for the different features, the production, and making sure that we're heading the right direction with the features that we're building for our clients. The project manager and the head of product could be, again, the same person. So you could have one person be the head of product and project manager. That person could get busy fast if you don't hire a project manager, but as long as you have clarity on the priorities, etc., this is also possible. The AI developer, tech admin, and client success admin, you always need them. You should not be doing admin tasks, and I would say you don't necessarily need to develop yourself. If you enjoy it, that's fine, but this business has to grow. So if you want to get to 80, 100, 150K per month, you need to have other people developing solutions for your clients. Otherwise, you're never going to hit those revenue goals that you have. And the last one is the following. This is a setup that I have currently within my business. I am technically advanced, meaning I understand how everything works. I just don't build automations. Now, some of my developers are more advanced than me, but I always give them opinions as to how they should go about things, how they can make automations or AI systems more efficient and also consume less in operations. Then we have a project manager who also understands the product, and because we have templates, they know exactly how everything should work. We have a tech admin, a client success admin. We have 3 developers. One of them is also the lead developer. That means that they are overseeing the other 2 developers and also doing tests, quality checks, making sure that the product is where we want it to be. And the lead developer is also expected to come up with new features, to do research, and also train up the other developers. So you have these 3 options. It really comes down to the scale of your business. I would say you can start with the first model, the one that I showed you right here. And if you need to hire more people, I would say start with a couple of developers, maybe get 1 or 2 tech admins, and then get your project manager. At that point, I think you can easily deliver to 10 to 15 clients every single month. And that requires some training on your end. You need to train your team up to your processes and your systems so then everyone follows your lead. Of course, some templates will help. So let's get to the fun part now. The fun part is the delivery systems. Now, the delivery systems look like this. You have to have a project management system, for sure. You need to have your Slack properly set up. You need to use weekly sprints. This is a standard process of the agile project management methodology. You need to have a daily focus system in place, 2 meetings per week, and then a ticketing system, which is optional, but really great to move things forward faster. Now, we also have the onboarding form, the onboarding email, booking calendars to schedule one-on-one calls with your clients, template assets, someone to manage client communication. We already covered this. That is your client success admin. And then 3 channels on your client's workspace, the 7FS chat, 7FS tasks, and tests. 7FS, 7-figure systems, that's my company, but you can call yours whatever your company's name is. So let's get started with the project management system. I personally use ClickUp. I've tried Jira. It was great, but not very flexible. So then I moved to ClickUp. I've also tried Monday.com for some of my clients, but again, it's not as flexible as I would like it to be. And with ClickUp, I have all the flexibility I need to build different views and zoom in as well as zoom out to see what exactly is going on in my business. So let me show you an example of what ClickUp looks like. Over here, I usually have this space called CRM or clients. That's where I create one folder per client. So what that looks like is this. I have a folder for ABC company and then for XYZ company and etc. So for each company, I track their systems in their individual folders. And then if I want to have a high level view of all the tasks that we are going to focus on for the specific week across all the clients, then I use the sprint folder right here. So if you're curious about how sprints work within ClickUp, then you can check the link somewhere around this video where I'm showing you exactly how ClickUp sprints work and how you can leverage them. It is really step by step on how to centralize all the tasks across all the client folders in one place, because the last thing you would want to do as you're scaling is to have to click to every single folder one by one to see what you need to deliver for the specific client. You would rather do this in one place, centralized. So the next one is the process library. That's where we have all the template tasks and lists. So what that means is if we have built sales systems for a client before, then we turn that into a template. So in the future, we know exactly how to deliver that. That reduces significantly the amount of time we need to spend on project management, defining tasks, defining features, etc., because we've done it before. So going back to this then, this is a dashboard that I like to look at with my team where we see exactly what we have on the backlog, in progress, blocked, etc. My project manager goes over onto the block tasks and checks what can be unblocked. Blocked tasks could be blocked because you haven't defined certain tasks or something is missing or because the client is blocking it. Now for client actions, we also use a tag called client action. So that makes it clear for us to know that it is a client that is blocking us, and then we make sure to follow up so that we can get this task unblocked as soon as possible. Next is the daily focus system. So what that looks like is the following. At the start of the day, I ask my team to post a message on a Slack channel. That is their commitment for the day. These are the tasks that they have committed to work on. And the reason why it is very important is because I don't want to have my team work on the wrong things just because on ClickUp we saw that the due date is today, right? I want them to post it on the Slack channel so then I know what they're committing to for the specific day. And then if there's something I want to change, then I can tell them, hey, remove this from your focus, prioritize something else. Or I can tell them, hey, this task is not for you, it's for John Smith. This gives me more control as to like what is happening on the day-to-day. Because every day that is wasted, that means delays, that means thinner profit margins for the business, because our team's capacity is directly related to our profitability and our scalability. So at the start of the day, we have this message, and then at the end of the day, I am asking the team to update the same message with emojis. Really clear, really fast. You just go and you put these emojis, check marks if the task is done, this forward button if the task was rescheduled or moved for tomorrow, and this red circle if the task is blocked. That makes it really easy for myself and my team to know exactly where we're at with the progress for the day. Now that adds also some sort of accountability for the team, because we know exactly what is moving forward. And if someone is committing to a list of tasks, but then half of those are not done or they are still in progress, then I can go to this person and ask them why they haven't completed their tasks on time, what is stopping them, how I can help them. Now, every day that is successful, every day that tasks get done on time, that means we will have success on the project because we are meeting the deadlines and the due dates. So this is what the daily focus system looks like. And someone could say like, hey, why don't I just use ClickUp for that? I can just go and create a view and check on ClickUp exactly the tasks that I need to work on. Well, on ClickUp, you can easily go and change the due dates. On ClickUp, you could have some tasks that are for today, but they're not supposed to be worked on today because something changed, the priority changed, and that is very normal, right? Or your project manager didn't have the time to reschedule a task on ClickUp. This daily focus creates that accountability, it creates that clarity, and it makes it easy for everyone to show what they are working on for the day. So at the end of the day, I also ask my team on the same message to put a comment at the end of the day and send an update if for whatever reason they didn't complete their tasks, what happened, if they're blocked, what do we need to do to get them unblocked. So this is what the daily focus system looks like. And then let's go on the Slack channels setup. For every client that we're managing, we have an internal channel. That means this is a channel that our client is not in there. It is just us, just a team that is involved on this project. So it looks like this. The naming convention is the internal dash and then the company name or the client's name. Then we have a chat only for admin team. I don't invite the devs over there. And then I have a chat just for the dev team. That's where I only have the dev team. Then I have the internal operations channel, which is for our internal systems. We have the calls booked, canceled. We have the onboarding channel. That's where we get notifications about the agreement being signed or the client submitting the onboarding form or me submitting the sales report form, which triggers the entire onboarding automation. And we have the team communication channel that is used for announcements. That's what I usually use to send notifications to my team. We have the tickets channel, which is where we have requests for new tasks. I will explain what that means in just a moment. We have the successful payments channel, failed payments, red flags is equal to refunds and disputes. The daily focus, that's where we're posting the daily focus message, and also the test channel. That's where we are testing automations, systems, and anything else, really. So this Slack channel setup requires that we communicate for every client on their dedicated channel. Now you may be wondering where my communication happens with my clients. And I have tested a lot of things. What I have noticed works the best is having my team go into my client's workspace. So here's what that looks like. I have my account, meaning Katie Bani, that joins the client's workspace. Then I have two more accounts that join the client's workspace. One is for my client success admin and one is for my project manager. So in total, 3 accounts that get onto my client's workspace. I need admin access on their workspace to set up automations, AI agents, etc. So I just joined their workspace. Also, my clients are mostly active on their workspace. Imagine if my client is on Slack and then I tell them we're going to communicate through email, or they are on Discord, because some people like to use Discord for their team communication. So imagine they are on Discord and then I tell them to communicate on Slack. It's never going to happen. I want to make communication really, really easy and seamless. So that's why I joined their workspace. Now you may remember at the start of this video, I mentioned that I created 3 channels: 7FS chat, 7FS tasks, 7FS tests. That's where I communicate with my clients in their workspace, not in my workspace. I don't use Slack Connect. I just get invited on their workspace. So on the 7FS chat, that's where we communicate about tasks. That's where I send them reports every week. And on the 7FS tasks, that's where I assign tasks to them. What does that mean? I give them tasks where they need to approve of something or review a set list of questions, right? On the 7FS test, that's where I test my automations. And I've had this before where we test it on the live channel, right? So imagine we tested certain automations on the live channel and it was for refunds. Now my client is panicking and they're wondering like, wait, what is this refund? And sometimes they may complain that they're getting too many notifications. So you don't want to have this on live channels. You want to have it on the test channels. So to summarize the entire communication setup, internal communication between your developers, your tech admin, your project managers happens on your Slack workspace, whereas anything that is client-facing happens on the Slack workspace of your client. If your dev needs something from your client, they're going to have to either get the project manager or client success admin to ask the client. You don't want to have everyone asking the client 100 questions, right? Because sometimes maybe your developers don't have all the context to communicate with your clients. So 7FS chat, 7FS tasks, 7FS tests. Really organized, really straightforward, and your client knows exactly where they can go to find their tasks, so they are not tagged in multiple threads and then they forget it and now you're blocked for 3 weeks. So let's go into the weekly sprints. I already explained a little bit about sprints and what it means. Now, a sprint is a time-based period in which your team works on a defined set of tasks to complete and make progress toward a finished product or service. In short, what that means is that you give yourself a week or two, and then you say, hey, within this time frame, I want us to complete these 50 or 100 or 150 tasks. And everyone is committing to these tasks only. Now, most companies that are building software, they run 2-week sprints. Personally, I run a 1-week sprint. The reason for that is because my projects don't require months or years to complete. Usually within 8 to 12 weeks, they are done. So I like to have control over each week and make sure that we're making progress each and every week. I cannot wait 2 weeks for a certain feature to be out. We're not building tools that require full stack development, but rather it's no code or low code solutions, and I think it is definitely feasible. So that means every week, every Friday, my team will meet and we will come up with a list of tasks that we need to work on for the next week. Now, when we are planning for the upcoming week, we are not maxing out the time and schedule of each and every person. Usually we schedule up to 60 or 70% for each day, and then we leave room for any bugs or urgent requests, so then our team doesn't have to work 10 to 12 hours, but instead, if we have more time, then we can give them more tasks. But if we have bugs or urgent requests, then we can still handle them because we haven't maxed out their schedules, and we know that some hours will also go into team communication, some hours will go into stand-ups, etc. So sprints are really, really important. They create that accountability, they make sure that there is progress and we are moving things forward. So, as I explained before as well, you can check the link that is going to be somewhere around this video, and you can learn exactly how to run sprints within ClickUp. Now, if you don't complete the tasks within the specific sprint, what you can do is firstly reflect, why did that happen? Why are you pushing tasks for the next sprint? Now, if you are overestimating your team's productivity, then you're going to move the tasks into the future. If your team is not productive enough, then you can reflect on that and see what needs to happen for your team to get more efficient, or what conversations you need to have with your developers or tech admins. There has to be a clear reason why tasks are being moved to future sprints, and you need to make sure that you're working towards sprints that lead to 100% completion. So let's go then on to the next one, the ticketing system, which is something that it is optional, but I have been using for the past 2 years. So the ticketing system makes it really easy for the team to request new tickets. These tickets could be from the client success admin, the developers, or even myself. So instead of just messaging the project manager on a random Slack channel, what we're doing is we are submitting this ticket request form that you can see right here, and we are adding all the details so then our project manager doesn't have questions and they can easily delegate this task. A ticket could be archived as well. Maybe we have already addressed this and team member that submitted the ticket request was not aware. So with a ticket request form, we make sure that our project management tool is clean. Not everyone can create tasks. We don't want just about anyone creating tasks. We want only the project manager to master ClickUp and also make sure that everyone knows exactly what they're working on. We don't have duplicate tasks or tasks that are forgotten or requests that are missed. This makes it really clear for us. I've been using it for the past 2 years. It's really easy to use. Yes, it adds a little bit of friction, so you cannot just spam your project manager with like voice notes or messages, but you're making their life easier. And that means less management on your end, less failure points, and better communication. So now that we have defined the ticketing system, I want to take you on to the client welcome email. So you want to have a welcome email in place as you're onboarding a client, where you're telling them how to communicate, what the next steps look like, and also their action items summarized at the end. You want them to schedule a call with you, a business audit call. That's where you're going to audit their business and understand exactly how they're running things. So then when you're building the solutions, you're building to solve problems. You're not just building random solutions, but solutions that solve the problem that they have, and that will allow them to scale once they are resolved. The next one is the client onboarding form. You want to have a client onboarding form to collect the initial data about your clients, meaning what they're doing with their business, why did they decide to work with you, what is their main goal with their business, how are they currently generating leads, or how they're currently running their business. Anything that is relevant to your deliverables, you want to have these questions on your onboarding form, as well as their company culture, how many clients they work with, and also their expectations, right? What's the most important for you in this partnership? What does success look like to you after 90 days? Now, 90 days could be 60, could be 120, could be a year. So you want to get clarity on like their expectations. What do they want out of this partnership? What kind of results are they looking for? You want to make sure that you understand those and work towards these expectations and these goals. So guys, this is what it looks like to run a systems or AI or automations agency. You don't need all the systems from the get-go, but certain systems are absolutely necessary for you to scale this up. Unless you want to be stuck on the back end, be that glorified technician that knows how to build automations but still makes 5 to 10K, you're the smartest in the room, but you're still making the least amount of money than other people that are less able and skilled than you, then you need to make sure that you have certain systems also within your business. The project management tool, the ticketing system, running this with sprints, having clear communication with your team, and having clear responsibilities, an org chart that makes sense. These are all absolutely necessary for this to work out and for you to not work 24/7. So as I'm shooting this video, there are a lot of changes happening in the space. AI is coming in. Potentially your project manager could be replaced or maybe supported with AI. I will be making more videos around running an agency for systems, automations, and AI because it is a difficult business model. It is not very profitable if you don't run it right. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, give it a share, or subscribe to the channel. And if you would consider joining my exclusive community, the Systems Mastermind, then I'll be happy to see you there, chat with you, look exactly at your business, and help you, whether it is through our group calls or our channels or even on one-on-one. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it valuable and I hope you'll implement some of these solutions. Check out the links in the description if you want to join the Systems Mastermind. Until then, see you on the next one.